Alright, 50 Marines land at Barbados airfield on the 25th of October 1983. About 50 United States Marines arrived here today in a naval transport plane and flew off in 3 helicopters. An American embassy spokesman suggested that they might help evacuate Americans from Grenada, whose prime minister was slain last week, Mr. Maurice Bishop. Diplomats here say that 300 to 1,000 Americans on Grenada wanted to leave. The Grenadian airport remained closed to most planes today, but a United States government plane took some diplomats in and brought out 3 United States citizens though. Just what was going on was not clear. The United States spokesman both here and in Washington maintained that they did not know why the 50 Marines had made their brief stop over here in Barbados and where they had actually gone. Interesting. Now, the Defense Department officials in Washington said that the 1,800 Marine force was diverted to Grenada area last week had actually left for Beirut, but they did not say the entire task force was gone, which had included the aircraft carrier Independence, which had left for Grenadian waters still. Now, Michael Morgan, a spokesman at the United States Embassy here in Barbados, said that he did not know where the Marines had come from, but the Barbadian businessman noted that the United States Navy had an installation in Antigua, about 200 miles northwest of here, and suggested that the Marines had landed here en route to ships off to Grenada, or to be shipped off to Grenada. So at about 5 p.m., workers and passengers at the Grantley Adams International Airport here were surprised to see a small group of Marines in combat gear run from a Navy transport plane aboard 2 Sea King transport helicopters and a Marine Huey helicopter gunship, which had then took off and headed southwest. Grenada is actually more than 100 miles southwest of here, so make of that as you will. What they saw, Mr. Morgan said in a response to inquiries, could be news as part of one of the options to affect the departure of Americans waiting on Grenada and to ensure their safety. Now, the appearance of the Marines here capped off another day of frustration for those Americans who have been trying to leave Grenada since the upheaval that happened last week, when military elements loyal to Marxist hardliners took control and announced that the island was now ruled by a 60-member military revolutionary council. But let's be honest, only one person of that is actually going to get any power, right? Now, although the authorities in St. George's, the capital of Grenada, said that the airport was open and some planes, including a Cuban airliner, did land there, most scheduled flights to the island were grounded by air controllers in neighboring island nations and countries that had expressed anger at the developments in Grenada. The 3 United States citizens who managed to leave aboard the United States government plane today were Jody Rayner, 26-year-old, the wife of the student at the St. George's University School of Medicine, and Mr. and Mrs. Craig Cleave, Peace Corps volunteers working on the island of St. Vincent, who had been vacationing in Grenada when the violence had actually flared up today, 25th. Now, Mrs. Rayner said that Grenadian women working at the medical school wept last Saturday as they disputed official accounts that Mr. Bishop had died when he and his supporters were fired on by army troops. Mrs. Rayner said that she had been able to talk to the women and others in the 4-hour periods on Saturday when the 24-hour curfew had been lifted, and they had told her that Mr. Bishop was killed while trying to surrender to the Marxist junta. The official version, she said, was that Mr. Bishop's supporters had freed him from house arrest and that he had led them to Fort Rupert Army headquarters. She quoted that the Grenadian women are saying that he had been carried in a very weakened state by his supporters from detention to the barracks near the hospital. So was he staging an overthrow, or was he just going to seek medical help? Now, one man who said that he had been there told her that the aides lifted Mr. Bishop's arms above his head to single submission because after his imprisonment he had become too weak to do so. The same man told her that Mr. Bishop had also been stripped naked before he was shot. A lot of Americans are still very concerned and nervous, y'all. Mrs. Rayner, who was from Morristown, Tennessee, said of the students at the medical school in Grenada. She said she left because she was at least 7 months pregnant at that time. Now, an appeal to Reagan. Parents of the students of the St. George's University School of Medicine in Grenada, fearful of the presence of the American forces in the area of the Caribbean Sea, could lead to exchanges of gunfire and hostility on the island, sent a telegram to President Reagan yesterday urging him to act cautiously. The telegram, signed by more than 500 parents, asked the president not to move too quickly or to take any precipitous or provocative actions at this time. Those are our children down there, and we don't want any of them caught in any crossfire, said Alvin Buxbaum, a lawyer and president of the Parents Network, a Long Island-based organization representing more than 700 families of students at the St. George's University School of Medicine in Grenada. Classes actually resumed there yesterday on the 24th of October. Charles Mordecai, the chancellor of the university, told the parents that he had been informed by the new military government in Grenada that the safety of the students were assured and nothing would be harmed, well, come to harm for them. Now, there are 650 students at the Grenadian campus, 90% of those who are from the United States, but at least 200 are from New York State, 75 of them are actually from Long Island. So I'm walking here. They talk like that, I'm telling you. But let's see what happens in Grenada in the following weeks, and we'll keep you updated here on ENN. This has been the ENN Network signing out from Grenada, 25th of October, 1983, here in Christchurch, Barbados, at the Gratly Adams International Airport.